Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to another episode of SOULution Sunday.
Happy Sunday,
I
everyone.
am Lisa Warner, and I am the creator of SOULution Sunday. I'm the author of The Simplicity of Self-Healing. And today is a special day because it kicks off year 2 of SOULution Sunday. So I have a little party today with my very dear friend and Baggage Be Gone facilitator, radiant relationship luminary, a woman with multiple talents, Gwen Lepard. Welcome,
Aww.
Gwen.
Thank you so much, Lisa. It's such a thrill to be here on your 1 year anniversary or anniversary of the first year or the second year. As you're moving forward into your second year, that's super exciting.
It is. I didn't even realize until like last week, after I did the show last week, I'm like, I think it's been a lot, like about a year. And then I looked, I'm like, oh my gosh, it is.
Yay. Welcome to year 2. You share so many beautiful things. I mean, Sunday Fun Day and SOULution Sunday. I love the name of your show. It's so heartfelt and soul. I mean, it's exactly what you're about.
Right? It's like the whole idea being here on this planet at this time is to remember who we truly are. We are the soul in a physical body that gets a mind programmed to go with us. It's like if we start clearing out the programming in the mind, we can start connecting back to the soul. And that's where all the fun is.
Oh, I need that fun. It's so easy to get serious, everything in the world is like.
Right? No kidding.
Don't maintain that seriousness. Seriously, you gotta get it out of your body.
Exactly.
It'll bog you down. It'll slow you down. It'll make you old before your time. I mean, you were talking about that recently. It's just the aging process.
Like, let's get rid of that aging process and look at how this world is set up. It's set up for seriousness and to stop the play and everything work, pay attention.
Well, I think it depends on which world you're talking about, because that world behind you, all those beautiful, happy flowers and the sun and the mountains and the mist coming up, the clouds, that's set up for play.
Exactly.
And it just does what it does, and everything gets done, and there's no worry, and there's no rush, and there's no seriousness.
Exactly. Nature is incredible. And when we're tuned into our true nature, and when we're tuned into literally nature and the elements and the energies, the living life force energy of nature, everything is easy.
And boy, is it tough when you're not. Everything gets like.
Yep.
Pushing the wagon up the hill, and it just wants to roll back. It's like trying to learn how to use a clutch on a hill. Have you ever driven a clutch?
Yeah.
Do people know what clutches are anymore in cars? Do they still make them?
Dating ourselves.
Well, I have no problem dating myself. I think it's a good thing for us to date ourselves.
That's right. Exactly.
It shows the amount of work that we've done, and because it shows up on our bodies, right?
Exactly. It shows up. When we're able to just love ourselves and accept ourselves, then we can date ourselves. We can definitely love ourselves and take ourselves out into the world and feel comfortable and confident and certain. And it makes all the difference in our health.
It makes all and everything. And I know so well because of what I've been going through. It's like I allowed myself to get into the medical model again, and oh my gosh, they're just trying to find so many things wrong with me, and it's like my body's like, oh, okay, we'll tease them, then we're going to heal it up before the next test. It's like then they can't find anything. They're like, what happened? Well, my body kind of knows what to do, and when I don't drop down into fear, because when you drop down into fear, then you start building things for them to find, because that's the expectation. And that has been a very interesting journey. Lots of stuck. Let's get the flow
Indeed.
going.
Yeah, fear is the enemy. You know, when we are in fear, we cannot heal while we're in fear. It's simply not possible because the fear is what we're feeling in the body, and the body is vibrating at that level.
Very low
And
level.
health and fear are completely different vibrations. In order to be healthy, we have to be happy. Like, we have to be up in the higher octave of vibrations, in the positive vibrations.
Absolutely, at least above courage. And it takes courage to get out of fear. And fear can actually be the motivation to get you to play someplace safe so that you can heal. That's like, run to the high rocks. There's the beast that's going to get you. Spear, you only have a spear. You got to get to the high spot. And with the tribe, be safe. People of like mind. That is so important. I mean, I love being able to hang out with you and other people of like mind. And we're in a group that just really is so supportive. And that's medicine. And I know, we're going to talk about movement is medicine and having fun and loving ourselves and all of that stuff. And it's all part of a journey, because being here in what is still mostly 3D, a lot of the 5D is coming up, and I feel the resistance against the 5D. My 3D is like just fighting against that 5D, and that's where I think a lot of this stuff is coming from. That I'm digesting and gestating the 5D to allow that to be the next level. And boy, there's the 3D part that just went, no, 3D. Crazy.
Yeah, the density, it's hard to let go of the density. It's, the 3D is incredibly magnetic, and it literally has a gravitational pull. And
I thank you for saying that, because I was kind of like, am I the only one that's feeling this? And you've just validated that. It's dense and it's magnetic, and it wants to keep us in just the physical. And that's why movement and dance vibrates and gets everything vibrating, so that you're lighter and stomp the density into the ground.
Yeah, the body loves to be able to move. Growing up, I was an athlete and figure skater, and being able to get out on the ice and just move, it was like how I could express myself, and that was like the only place that I could just be myself. Like,
well, and as a figure skater, you can fly.
Yeah,
I mean, figure skaters can literally fly.
Yeah, it's super fun.
You leave
the air.
you leave the ice and you fly and you land on the ice. I mean, I am so impressed with anyone that can ice skate and do the figure skating part of it, and all of those different what do you call them, axles, triple axles, and and leaps and lands. What started you in that?
Well, growing up in the Olympic Village of Lake Placid, New York, it was kind of everybody sort of either figure skated or played hockey or skied. And, my mom brought me to the rink one day. She brought me to an ice show. I was 4. And in that, I saw some friends in the ice show, and I was like, I can do that. I want to do that. She said, all right, next year we'll give it a try when they start the skating club again. So,
I love it.
Yeah.
Yay.
Just remember that first little glide, still to this day, stepping onto the little rink. It was really it was a natural fit for me.
And yeah, there's nothing like feeling that. When you said that, it reminded me of this one perfect run that I had on skis. There was a period of time where I was skiing. I lived in Portland, and I skied 12 months out of the year. I kind of followed the snow, and up on Mount Hood, you can ski year round. It's like I started on the 4th of July and I ended on the 4th of July on Mount Hood, Timberline. And there was this one perfect run. It was actually on Mount Bachelor, which is over in, I think in Bend. Nope, actually, this was Mount Hood too. But the other ski run, and there's a thing when you load up the skis and then release it and load it up and release it. It was like flying, and it was this perfect run. And I was in my body and out of my body, and my body was just like this incredible machine that was just working so perfectly with the gear, with the conditions, with the air, and everything went silent. And I only had one of those runs. It was that perfect. But boy, you remember those moments.
Right? Oh my gosh. It's incredible. I love that.
Yeah, thank you for
Like,
talking about the ski, because the skate moment, because I haven't thought about that moment in so long, because that was movement as medicine and also as meditation, and there was a method to it, and it took time and training and practice to get there.
yeah, like in those moments, it's like time stands still. There is no time. It's just you and your surroundings. And it's just so magical. I miss my days of skating.
I bet. There was always an underlying fear around skiing, because skiing is a dangerous sport. You have to, when you buy a lift ticket, you're saying I'm putting my life on the line. It says it right on the ticket. But moments like that are worth it. Yeah. Dance, though. No matter how old you are, you can dance.
Yeah.
And even you've just entered your second year. This is today is the 20th anniversary of Dance Church, which is a group of people here in San Diego that dance. And there's dance churches actually all over the country, maybe even outside of the country. And they religiously meet on Sunday to sweat their prayers and just move and do whatever movement comes to them from the music that's playing. And we have like different DJs that send music, and this is, I think, our year anniversary of being outside too, being in a park because of COVID. And even with COVID, we never missed a day. We met through Zoom, and now we do both. So we had people that got stuck in Turkey with COVID, and so they would join us from Turkey on Zoom.
Oh.
And the tribe was still together. And we were talking about movement being medicine, and I wanted to bring this quote from Gabrielle Roth, because she was the creator of the wave, which is a form of dance that moves through a lot of different, all of the different movements. It's 5 different types of movements. But what she said movement is my medicine, my meditation, my metaphor, my method, a living language that we can rely upon to tell us about who we are with, and where we are going. And then she says there's no dogma in dance, which it's like, and I know that the people that created Dance Church, followed Gabrielle Roth, because part of it came from Contact Improv, part of it came from the 5 rhythms, which is what Gabrielle Roth created. The wave was a 5 rhythms dance that starts with flow, which of course is my favorite. I love to flow. But then you get into staccato, which is more using more angulars, and that's maybe not as comfortable for somebody that likes to flow. Maybe somebody that doesn't like to flow, maybe they like that more. And then it goes into chaos, just all over the place. And I have trouble with chaos. Oftentimes I end up on my back with my feet in the air, because my body can't handle all of the chaos. It's one of the most challenging rhythms for me. And then it goes into lyrical, which is like flow, but more skipping and jumping and like that, loading up the skis, or like, doing your glide on the ice. And then you go into stillness, and the music moves much slower. And then you can lay down and do shavasana, or just be with yourself and feel the movement in your body in stillness. And that, I think, is some of the best medicine that I've ever had, is going through the 5 rhythms. So pushing myself into places that I'm not comfortable with. and then recognizing how comfortable I am with flow, and knowing that that's my safe spot, my comfort zone.
Right.
And then we need to move out of our comfort zone, because that's where everything we want, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there is so much medicine in challenging ourselves to move in ways that are not completely natural to us.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime we start to do things that are pushing ourselves out of the comfort zone, it just is, it's just that ability to grow and expand. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like there's so much, there are a lot of people that don't, I've just noticed from my time here on this crazy planet, like there are a lot of people that like they don't want to move past a belief system, or they don't want to go out of their comfort zone, or they have their spot, and it's like this is how I am, this is where I am, and like they just need that comfort zone. It's like, oh my goodness,
I
push
have
it out and expand. We're
I
infinite
do have
beings.
some respect for people that can do the same thing over and over again. So I mean, that have been in the same place, and you go back and it's like it's been years, and it's like, and I'm like not even the same person, and I look at their lives and it's like, wow, you're still doing the same thing, and how is that possible? And so I have some respect for that, because it's not something that would be outside of my comfort zone.
Right.
To have that consistency and do the same thing. But those are, they become masters at their craft if it's something that they've done over 10,000 hours, or that they're really good at. They've mastered their life. But as you say, maybe what they've mastered is something they don't want, like being stuck in a relationship that doesn't serve them, stuck in a situation where there is no self-love, where they're not allowed to love themselves or do the things that allow us to show ourselves, our soul, that we do care for ourselves and that we have love for every single fiber of our being. And I remember meeting someone at dance that was an energy healer before I started doing energy healing. I'd been doing it, but didn't know I was. And he said, you need to love every fiber of your being. And I was like, there's so many parts of me that I don't love. And that started me on that journey of self-love. It's like, how can I love every fiber of my being, no matter what?
Right. That's where the magic is.
Mm-hmm.
This crazy world teaches us that it's wrong, that, to love ourselves is wrong, that it's selfish, that it's narcissistic, that,
Ooh, and I can go someplace there.
right? Like we need to put other people first, put yourself last. It's like, and all that does is lead us into dis-ease. And
It does. And resentment
yes,
for those that, you're taking care of, because you're not taking care of yourself. And then you lose your ability to take care of those other people. And, I don't know a better example. If I did, I'd use it. But, the putting the oxygen mask on yourself first when you fly. And that's so much what self-love is putting the oxygen mask on yourself first, so that you can help those around you, those that, maybe can't, whether they're older or injured or children and not able to reach up and get that oxygen mask, and not able to reach for the self-love. And you mentioned narcissism, and I remember when I did 365 days asking the question, how do I love myself today, on Facebook Live in 2018. And it was talking about getting outside of your comfort zone. Yeah, it's like there are days I'm just like, and I'm there and I'm live, I'm going, I don't know why I said I was going to do this. I don't know why I'm doing that, but I'm here because I made this commitment. So I got really serious about self-love. And sometimes it was light and playful, but the ones I remember are being more serious. It's like, why did I do that to myself? I was so overexposed. And I came away from it with a lot of clarity, and recognizing that I stepped away from it I've been stepping back into it because there was so much overexposure and so much out of my comfort zone that I needed some time to gestate it and to process everything that I had experienced throughout that year. And one of my often viewers said, aren't there too many people loving themselves already in the world? And, from the negative standpoint. And so I queried more, and what he was talking about was narcissism. And narcissism is not actually a love of yourself. It is a protection mechanism of those that loathe themselves so intensely that they can't show that. And a true narcissist is actually someone whose brain isn't formed correctly. They do not have the ability to have empathy. And therefore, they can be very charming and show the outside world a perfect picture when behind the scenes and their family and those that know that are closest to them see a much different person who is draining those around them in order, a narcissist needs to make other people feel bad to feel good about themselves. Yeah. As empaths, we want people to feel good about themselves so that we feel good about ourselves.
Exactly.
And in self-love, you feel good about yourself so that those around you feel that vibration, are uplifted by you loving your soul and loving your spirit and loving the body that you're in, and your body reflecting that love.
Exactly. We have Keith saying, everything worthwhile is just outside my comfort zone. And then he says, ooh, how about this one? No growth is available inside my comfort zone.
Ooh, I like it. No growth is available inside my comfort zone. True. I could just dance and flow forever and not gain that insight of staccato. Ooh, ha, yeah. Hey, that actually helped my arm.
There you go.
It needed that movement. Whew. Thanks, Keith.
So tell us about the self-love experience on Binge Network.
So I just was sharing about the 365 days that started with, I was part of this wellness leadership group, and I was having a conversation New Year's Eve with one of my fellow wellness leaders, and she was saying, every morning I get up and I say, how can I love myself today? And I'm like, wow. I mean, she's just this super vibrant person. It's just always really, really out there. And I'm thinking, wow, that's like really intense. Wow, what would it be like to ask that question every day? And then for me, it was like, how do I love myself? Because it's like, well, maybe I can, maybe I can't. But if I do, it put it into action. And I was in a very much action place, working on being, but how do I love myself? And so I started asking the question, and I decided that I was going to do it because we'd been challenged as wellness leaders to do Facebook Lives, and being live on video and being on video even was something that was just like, for me, it just did not want to be seen in that way. One of my worst fears was being videotaped without my knowledge. Now it happens all the time. I mean, if you're sitting in a stoplight, you are being videotaped. You're at a mall, you're being videotaped, you're walking down the street, someone has their camera on and maybe is catching you. You're on the beach and maybe, I dance and people videotape me. I haven't seen any of them though. Just tag me, would you? I always dreamed of being in a music video, and I actually did get that dream to come true in a small way, part with a bunch of other people. So I'm doing that, and then I stepped away from it and put it aside, and I knew I was going to do something more with it. They went from Facebook up onto YouTube, and nothing much was happening with it. And then in October of last year, I started getting these emails from somebody who said, hey, we found this, and do you want it to be seen out there in the world? And I'm like, and then in November I thought, well, let me see what it is that they're offering. What do they want from me?
Yeah. Right.
And so I got in a conversation. They're like, we found this, and you're really telling a story there. It's not like anything else that we have on our network. And we just love the rawness and the authenticity. And I'm like, okay. Being a generator in human design, it's like I need to be invited. So I was invited, and it was an investment. And I was like, well, I asked some friends and I asked some mentors, and they're like, if this and that, but I kept getting this, just do this. And so I figured out how to do it. The money showed up. Some of it was really scary and really tight. And it just felt right to take all of that, because so many people said the self-love thing that you're doing has helped us so much, that consistency, and you're sharing, there's so many pearls of wisdom that I wasn't even aware I was doing, because I was just being there. How do I love myself today? And people would come on, I'm asking them, how do they love themselves? And I'm also, my throat is open in human design. So when I'm with people, it just, I'm a responder. So people ask things, or they're there, and just stuff starts pouring out of me. I have access to a vastness of information and knowledge that I don't even know that I have access to, unless there's people asking me questions, or, holding space like you are so beautifully. And so I said yes. And the self-love experience with Gwen Lepard, because it is all me and guests. I'm like, oh, is this being narcissistic? And I'm looking at all these other people that are on the network, and a lot of them they didn't even have a personal growth category at the time. I'm like, you need a self-growth, a personal development, self-growth, genre. And now they do personal development. And so it is actually being streamed on Roku and Apple TV, and it's reached over 53 million people last year, and the network, and it's continuing to grow. It's on all of the new smart TVs, the app, the Binge app. So the self-love experience with Gwen Lepard, as seen on the Binge network TV app, on all of these different places. And they're in the process of shopping it around to over 100 different outlets all over the world. So it will be seen and heard, and this message of self-love will be out there. And me being real and raw, and I was like, talk about it, being overexposed, but I'm a little ways from it. And now I'm coming from where I'm at now. And so there'll be a number of seasons. There'll be the 4 quarters, and then there's stuff that I'm doing now, and like people like you that I've been in the book with, navigating the clickety clack. Yay, Keith, our awesome mentor and publisher. And what else would you like to know about it?
Yeah, so people can see it pretty much on any of those platforms then.
And also on your computer as well.
That's awesome.
I can put the link in for you, and you can put it in with Facebook. Is that
great? Yeah, I can pop it in the chat. You popped it in, you put the link in there.
I did. Yeah, that's the long link, but yeah, that'll take it to my channel. And I noticed there's somebody else on there. I'm your best self. I'm gonna have to go investigate them. Maybe I'm supposed to be a guest.
Cool.
So this is what's there now is the first month and of 2018, and there's more that should be going up on Monday. And so about 5 episodes will go up every week. and
Ah,
then also the new episodes of, you know, where I'm at now, and, you know, with a number of books under my belt after that, and and being on different telesummits, you know, all across the world, having clients all across the world, which that hadn't started. I mean, I had a few clients that were outside of my immediate realm, but I didn't have global clients until I met Karen Can, which is one of the ways we met, which is through Keith. I just love
yep,
all the connections. Yes,
that's it. Yep.
that's it.
Karen's coming
Yep,
over a
yep.
little bit later today.
Oh gosh, I envy you to that. I have my dance church tribe. I'll go to dance church.
Beautiful. It's nice to be able to have a local tribe of like-minded people, and as
Yeah,
well as my online tribe of like-minded people.
I agree so much. Yes, it's very true.
Yeah. You know, what I've discovered is like the more that I've learned to love myself, my tribe has grown and changed, and you know,
Hmm.
there's so much more cohesion between all the members of my tribe. They're like so much more like-mindedness. It's really fun. You know, the more we raise our vibration, the more we start to remember who we are, because love is who and what we are. Once we start to embody more and more of ourselves, our higher selves, it starts to get a lot really fun. You know?
Exactly. It's better to have fun. Again, that seriousness. I've been just so serious lately. I refused the seriousness. Seriousness, you can leave now.
Yes.
Back to the silly funness. And so, did we want to do some movement?
Sure.
And so if people are just sitting, I mean, just the, you know, the rib slides, just moving your ribs side to side. And I love that Keith's here because he turned me on to the 3 easy breaths.
Yes.
And so if we wanted to even start with those, because that gets our ribs expanding out in all directions.
Sure.
And that shows us that we can, for those that maybe for some reason can't be dancing or, you know, really doing a lot of physical movement, that there is movement in stillness. There's movement in the breath, and movement is medicine. So if we take 3 easy breaths, so just settling in and allowing. So our bodies know how to take an easy breath. And when Keith mentioned take easy breaths, I went, wait a minute, I'm always talking about taking deep breaths, and deep breaths are yeah. And it's all this effort, you know, to get the air deep down into your lungs. And an easy breath, your diaphragm just goes down, and the oxygen flows into your lungs, and your rib cage expands out. And then as you exhale, it comes back and the diaphragm comes up, and then you do it again. And though we don't really need that instruction, it's kind of nice because there are people that breathe up here, and
Yeah.
that's so anxiety inducing. You're just trying to breathe up here. I'm getting all anxious. So bringing that, just allowing your diaphragm to do its normal job. Bring in an easy breath and out. And he said, take 3 easy breaths, and you can ask a question. Like, is there a question that you want answered? Ask that question and then take another easy breath. And out as you're holding space for that answer to come in. And another easy breath. And allowing it to just slowly be released. And coming back to now. Just feeling how different it feels to have that movement of an easy breath in your body. And now we can do our glides, chest glides, rib glides. So ribs out to one side, out to the other side, and then bring the shoulder out to one side, shoulder out to the other side, and go back, round your back, and then arch your back, and round your back, and arch your back. Oh yeah, I love you rolling your shoulders. So we both, you turned me on to blocking. We could
Yes.
probably talk about that too. Oh my gosh, is that fun?
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I'm like, a piece of wood? Seriously? That's gonna be fun. That's gonna help me do anything. And it's part of the way we stand, the way we get back into alignment and get the pain out of our body so that we can have more fun.
Exactly.
One of the things that I really love to do, and depends on the people that you're around, whether it's actually a shimmy, and it's, so you can't see it, but if you're standing and you do your knees like one knee, other knee, one knee, other knee, and then you do them fast, and then go to them really fast, it creates a shimmy in your body. Or you can just shake. You can just stand and shake. And so if you start off and get yourself in the hips, your hips are actually inside of what people think their hip width is. So if you bring your hands just straight down and then point your fingers down and then look at your feet are there. And then bring the shoulders back and the wings in, but not too far in. And when you do that, it's your hands come into this position, the front position. And then you just shake a little, just a little bounce. And that is shaking all of the cells in your body, and it's shaking the water in your body. And it's like being on a trampoline, only without the trampoline. So it's more gentle, because sometimes that rebounding, that really shakes things up.
Right.
And maybe lets loose more toxins than you're ready for. But if you just do this for a little while, people go, what is he doing? There's one guy in dance church that every week he'd just stand against the wall and do this. It's like, okay. That was how he warmed up. You just stand and shake.
Beautiful.
And then back to the shimmying the knees. So a shimmy actually starts in the knees, one of the shimmies for belly dance. So the knees going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And really fast. Bring in your hips.
Shake it up, baby, now.
Baby. Yeah. And did you notice we just kind of danced without music? And then you brought music in because, of course, we love music to dance to, because it gives us more flow and it gives us more direction on what we want to do. That's why the 5 rhythms music was so amazing.
Oh, beautiful. That just felt good, just to get all that energy moving.
Movement is medicine.
Exactly. We've never really been taught about energy and the flow of energy. And, I've been really changing my relationship with energy lately, and really seeing the energy around me, like as if the air was water, but like it's just all energy. And
you are seeing the flow.
Yeah, it's like, wow, when you can watch the flow of the energy, you can see where it's stuck, or where it's like, oh, wait a minute, that's not gonna get me the result I want, because it's not putting the energy in the direction that I want it to go, or that I need it to go. It's like when we can start to see things in terms of energy, we can literally start moving energy and shifting and changing energy moving, changing the direction of the flow. So,
Absolutely. In fact, we were talking earlier about the 7 steps on the journey of stuck energy. And so the very first one is, so energy must flow. I mean, that is the law of energy, is it must flow. And the first thing is restlessness. So if you're feeling restless, like I, with your help and just with my body telling me that I had to rest, that I spent a lot of time just in bed, either reading or binging Netflix and other things. And then I started getting restless. And I recognized that, with the restlessness, that there's, some anxiety and boredom coming in. And it's like, haven't I rested enough? And my body still hadn't rested enough, but it needed more movement. It needed more from me, because that restlessness was telling me that the energy was getting stuck.
right.
And the energy has to flow in order to heal. So, we get that restlessness, and then it moves into agitation. Like, it's like, I want to get out of bed and I want to drive somewhere, anywhere, because I'm just so agitated. And I need to do something. And people miss all of these stages. It's like, well, they might know that they're restless or they're agitated, but they don't know that this is the energy in their body being stuck. And then we get into that fear spot. So maybe at that point, you've been restless for a long time, you've been agitated for a long time, and it's caused a lot of stress in your life, and you just kept shoving it aside, and you're not allowing the energy to flow because it's stuck somewhere. And then the fear comes in because something seems like it's wrong. Like you're talking in your book, it's like that, all that, what's wrong with me? And then you go to a doctor and the doctor says, oh, this is wrong with you. And then you get more fear.
Exactly.
And so you feel like something's dangerous in your body, and then you just get angry. And people hold anger in their body for years and years. In DNA, it gets held for centuries, generation after generation after generation, where you see families that just are unwell for every generation has the same thing. Oh, my dad died of this, I'm going to die of this.
Yep.
Then you move into grief and that deep sorrow. And it's like the loss of movement, the loss of a loved one, the loss of your connection with your soul. And you're finally grieving that. Most people not even aware that they've lost that connection. And it's so funny because I remember hearing Black person saying that pain is your first knowledge that something's wrong. It's actually the 6th. Then you move into pain. So you've already had 5 steps where you could have caught that stuck energy that you didn't know about before you even get to pain. So you're having that physical suffering and illness. Then the 7th step is illness and disease. So that's when then your body has held that stuck energy for so long that it's created a period of sickness affecting the mind, the body, whatever, the disorder of the structure and function. So I just wanted to share those because pain is actually almost at the end of the symptoms that we get with energy medicine on our journey to dis-ease.
Exactly.
So that restlessness is when you're restless, or your kid is restless, it's like, get them out and get them moving. Give them something to do. Give your body something to do. Give your inner child something to do. Give your spirit something to do. Reconnect with your soul. And I love the work that you're doing. I learned a new muscle testing from your book this morning. It was
that's my favorite.
It's like I did this one so much that when I had hundreds of readings to do with one of the telesummits I was on, that I couldn't type. I could no longer use my hands because I'd used this one so much. and I started with the pendulum one, and and then I love this one, the yes, no. But this is like fun. It's like, no is, oh yeah, flip it. You're flipping it.
Right?
It's like that.
Yeah.
Oh, flip that no energy up. Yes, yes, I like that. Yes, this is good. Yes is really good. My name's Gwen, and
Right.
I'm doing really well. I am well. People ask me,
Yeah.
how are you doing? I'm saying I am well. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm not feeling really well right now. I don't care. I'm well.
Yeah.
I'm sick. No, we're flipping that one off.
Right. Well, your body, our bodies always know. And when we just do something so simple as muscle testing, it's really a great way to dig deeper and gather some information. If we're not quiet enough in the mind, then the body can tell us.
Exactly. And we have our different clairs. So that clairsentience is how you use the body to know. And maybe you're clairaudient and you hear, hey, this is going on, then you can use the clairsentience to double check it, check it with the body if you're hearing it, or if you see something, it's like, well, is that true? You can use the body to validate. And yeah, do you want to share more about muscle testing, how you found about it, and how you use it, and how you use it with your clients and stuff? Or
I learned about muscle testing, a long time ago, probably 15 years ago. And a friend of mine was using her pendulum. I was like, hey, what's that? Just like, and she would make it swing back and forth for no and swing around in a circle for yes. And I was like, how are you doing that? And so she taught me how to use the pendulum. So that was a cool trick for a while, and that was pretty fun. And then I realized, like, well, if I wanted to know if I wanted to like muscle test something in the grocery store, like I didn't really want to be walking around the neighborhood with my pendulum. So
I hear ya.
I thought, well, there's got to be an easier way. And then I learned that you could just do the standing test. You could stand up and you could, the yes would move you forward, the no would move you back. Then I learned about like the daisy chain method with your fingers making the links. And then I realized, if you could make the links with two hands, you could also just make it with one hand. And then that was even easier. So that's always my go-to method of choice now.
Yeah, same
Even
here.
though
Yeah,
I
the
still
single.
do keep my pendulum around.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I had a friend that sent me one, and I remember years and years ago. I think it was 19 the first time I ran across a pendulum, and I couldn't really get it to. I was like, yeah, all the things that can affect this, and I don't know what it is about. Maybe it's the way she charged it, but it is the clearest yes, no. And maybe it's because I've been doing muscle testing for a lot of years now. It's the clearest yes, no that I've ever seen. And it's a beautiful amethyst, just point and on silver. And it's just like, wow. It just out of the bag, it was like, yes. And it did the yes and no, and it did the no. It was so clear, crystal clear. It's just like, wow. But yeah, I'm not going to run around the grocery store with it.
Yeah.
I have a finger.
Yeah.
I have fingers. I have fingers. I have my body. I have my mind giving me the yes, no. I mean, I can hear yes, no. And then I use my body to confirm so that I have more. And sometimes it's just like you get drawn to it. I mean, you talked about picking out a ripe cantaloupe. And I love that because I know I get impatient. It's like I know that we can look at fruit and know which one is right for our body, but I get my brain in the way.
Yeah.
And it's like, you want it to be quick, it's like in and out, get that. And part of this whole process of resting, I've slowed down, though not that you could tell. I've just been motor mouth. I haven't even had any kind of caffeine at all. I just had a little throat coat and tea, and I'm just happy to see you and chat with you, and
happy to be seen. It's always so lovely having such great guests on. I love our SOULution Sundays. It's just so much fun to have conversations with like-minded people and explore different angles of topics. And when we come at topics from different directions, it's like everybody has their own direction. We can really enhance so much awareness.
It's so true. And I just remembered somebody that is in our group brought in the I am. And I was thinking about the I am, because the I am, I mean, I've known this for quite a while, is it creates, and the I feel diffuses. So we in the book that we're both in, like, Navigating the Clickety Clack, How to Live a Peace-Filled Life in a Seemingly Toxic World, Volume 2, with Joe Vitale and Mary Diamond and Adam Markell, and of course our lovely publisher Keith Leon S. I talk about feeling your feelings, and so that I feel. So if I feel restless, or I feel sad, or I feel very irritated, that thinking about laying in bed for as long as I have been, that that feeling, it clears out that emotion, and so you're allowed to allow other emotions, and that's just like all of us. We want to be heard. Our emotions want to be heard. They want to be recognized. They want to be released. So they're going, hey, knock, knock, knock. I don't feel good. I'm angry. I'm sad. Knock, 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 knock. And so when you start saying, I am sad, I am angry, you're creating more of it. Like the people that hold anger in their bodies so long that it becomes cancer, which is when I studied with Dr. John Upledger of the Upledger Institute and the creator of the cranial sacral, the Upledger cranial sacral method. He said that he was holding somebody's body and that had cancer, and he asked the cancer what it was, and it said anger. And so they had this whole conversation on releasing the anger, and the cancer was healed because it needed to be heard, it needed to be felt, it needed to be released. So that difference of, so when you say I am, you want to make sure that you're saying things like, I am the light, I am light, I am love, I am the love, I am peace, I am joy, I am fun. I am full of energy, I am creates, I feel releases. So it's good to talk about your feelings, and it's good to feel your feelings. And that's one of my tools to navigate the clickety clock. And I just wanted to share that. Remind me of your tool for navigating the clickety clack.
Beautiful. Oh gosh, I can't even remember. What did breath is for sure one of the things.
Yeah. Absolutely.
One of my favorite tools is really recognizing energy, to look at things in terms of energy, look at emotions in terms of energy. It's so much easier to release the energy of frustration than it is to release a frustrating situation. So when we start to look at the energy, like, it starts to get easy to let go of these things, because they're just energy. They're not ours. It's not my frustration or my anger. It's just anger. I have anger in my energy field. Let me clear it out.
Absolutely.
And clear out all those things, and then, like, the healing just happens. It's all about the energy. Our bodies are not the problem. The energy is the issue that we're holding in our tissues.
The stuck energy.
Yeah.
That's in your energy field. And it's like, it starts out here, and things come in from our energy field, and they come in. And I remember a teacher talking about how, cancer starts out here in your energy field, and it takes, X number of years to even get to where it's at the body, and then another X number of years to depending on what kind it is, to actually manifest in the body. And you have an amazing story about healing and healing yourself. And I know we don't have a lot of time, but do you have a Cliff Notes version of your story? I'd love to hear it again.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that when I found myself facing cancer, it was completely obvious to me that my body was out of balance because I was out of balance. So there was just a clear connection. And I realized that, chemo and radiation were not going to help me get back into balance, because The problem wasn't my body. The problem was I was out of balance. So it's like the only one who can bring you back into balance is you. Like nobody else could bring me back into balance. So I had to go inside and start deciding, who am I? Start looking for the soul, start looking for the higher self, start looking for the master within, so that once the awareness started to open up and I got the mind quiet, it just became completely obvious there was nothing wrong with my body. My body was responding to my emotions. So when I started looking at the emotions as energy and started clearing them out and started managing my own energy so that I can keep everything balanced and aligned, it's like health just is. Like there is no other option when your energy field is clear and balanced and aligned, and you're not in the programmed mind. You clear that out and you open that up so for the soul to come through. Well-being is like the only option. There is no other option in balance and alignment.
Yeah, clear, balanced, and aligned. I love it. Those are the things to remember. Definitely get your energy field clear, balanced, and aligned.
Exactly.
Words of wisdom from our soul sister.
And keep it moving. Keep your bodies moving. Don't let the energies get stuck.
Get restless. Get moving. If you're restless, get moving.
Exactly.
Start rocking.
Yeah.
Rocking, shaking, moving.
Yes. And start really, truly putting yourself first. Make feeling good a priority. Like we have the ability to feel good at any moment in time.
It's all a matter of choice.
Exactly.
And choosing to love yourself and loving every single fiber of your being. And that includes every particle, every vibration, every waveform, every frequency, out as far as you exist, which is everything. Yep. So when you're loving yourself, you're loving everything.
Exactly. And it's like just allowing ourselves to feel good. That's loving ourselves.
Yeah. Thank you.
Beautiful. Yes. Gwen, thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure to have you on. Oh. And I'm so excited for your Binge Network debut with your self-love experience. So people, please take a look, check it out. Follow Gwen on her self-love experience on Binge Network.
Yes. And you can also find out more about me and gwenlepard.com. So spelled GWENLO or LEPARD. No O, like the big cat, but without the O.com.
Yes. So if you're watching on Facebook, I've put the links in the chat. If you are watching on YouTube, check out the show notes. If you're listening on Connecting You to You Radio, just check out the show notes, and Gwen's links will be in there. So thank you all for joining us, Keith and Michelle and Brendy and Masha and Tanya and Kinsey. Thank you all for hanging out with us this morning. Delbert.
Thank you, everyone.
Masha. Yes, Bren. Yep, got everybody. Awesome. Thank you all so much. Gwen, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Remember, there is medicine in the movement.
Mm-hmm. We go dancing now.
Yay. Beautiful. So this kicks off year 2 of SOULution Sunday. Thank you all who join us and follow us and participate on Sundays. We super appreciate it. And we're looking forward to another great season of SOULution Sunday. So until next week, create for yourselves a great week. Love yourselves and allow yourselves to feel good. Go out and play.